Watch me do my acrylic application in real time. For my acrylic application here, I like to use Mia's Secret Monomer and Valentino's Classic Nude for my base. It is really important to pat your bead and not drag it in the powder so that way it comes out evenly and right on the tip of the brush. You drain out some of the liquid so that way it comes out a little bit more structured when I place the bead on the nail. This is the most important part. It's very delicate, so you want to pat and not drag because it will wipe off all the product. So almost just patting it into place, making sure the product is spread evenly from sidewall to sidewall, and making sure that the thickness on the bottom is kind of like the thickness of a credit card. It's also important to make sure that you leave the top kind of blended in so that way it's easy to blend that second bead into the first one. Once you notice the bead is a little less runny, now is the time to make sure that your shape is nice on the sides. Now we'll be making sure that we cut off any of the excess product at the bottom. I like to do this part with the more stiff side of the brush, kind of more towards the top of the bristles. Using this part of the brush kind of allows you to have more control and more power when you want to cut off that excess product. I like to scoop the rest of the product with the tip of my brush, kind of make sure that there's no product left under the nail, just so that way it's a cleaner process when you go to file. Lastly, you just want to perfect that square shape on the bottom before you go into your next bead so that way you know your shape is nice and sharp. Our next bead is going to be our cuticle bead, and for this part I will be using less product, so I will be using less monomer and less acrylic. The right liquid to powder ratio is really important for your cuticle bead because you don't want it too runny and you don't want it too dry. I do like to drain out some of the liquid to make sure when I place it doesn't flood my cuticle, and I do place it a little bit below the cuticle and push it up into that pocket. While the bead is still really wet, you want to make sure that you use this time to put it into the cuticle and just kind of make it as flush as possible without flooding the cuticle. And now once the extra product on the bottom has dried a little bit, you can kind of blend it down into the rest of the nail, and that's going to help you build that apex. You don't want to wipe off that product right as soon as you place it because it's going to take away from that apex and it's going to give away the strength that you need for the nail to be structured. Now is your time to go in and make sure that your nail is completely blended, you like your shape on the bottom, and to make sure that your cuticle is not flooding. At this point, you want to look at all the angles and make sure it's nice and even, and you are all set. Let me know if you have any questions below.